Hello, everybody. It is September 5th, 2024. It is 10:05. That's what my watch says. Let's see what the phone says. My phone says it's 10:09 at night. Okay, so what I've got for you for this video is the stuff before chapter 1 in adulting. And I've already read a lot of this book, and there's a lot of good stuff in here, especially if you're someone who is young and hasn't experienced a lot of life yet and has a lot of basic stuff in here that people need to know. It's a really good book. There's a lot of good stuff and stuff that you might have forgot or and that you just need reminded on and stuff. It's really good. So, okay. So this is a note on the second edition. And this is the adulting book. How to Become a Grown-Up in 535 Easy-ish Steps. Kelly Williams Brown. Dear reader, feel free to skip this part. Any of the book, really. But this little section especially, because it has just one concrete, useful life strategy, and here it is. Pour liquids from one container into the other over the sink. Pour solids over a garbage can, assuming the solid in question is, say, sugar and not your collection of loose sapphires, in which case, maybe just pour over a big empty bowl. So here is a story. When I was 26, I was a reporter in Salem, Oregon, which is my real-life Pawnee. My beat was events and music and nightlife and any of the things human beings do. Not because they have to, but because they want to. I also wrote a weekly column of whatever nonsense I came up with, like crowning the cutest baby animal at the Polk County Fair, or writing a musical about the time everyone thought we were finally getting a Trader Joe's, but it was a mean trick, or spending an afternoon solving mysteries. Sample mystery. Wait, we have an entire store dedicated to clocks? What? Findings. Yeah, we do. And it has a whole bunch of clocks. These clocks are all going their own way in terms of ticking and chiming. They were supervised by an intense owner who answered all my questions with one word, then watched me as I moved among the precious timepieces. In fact, this experience introduced more questions than answers, but they remained unanswered. I couldn't spend more than 20 minutes there. It is alarming to step out of your parks and recreation life and into a David Lynch movie. People, again, not just my mother, asked me if I was ever going to write a book, which is sort of like asking an inspiring actor if they were ever going to star in a movie. Plus, I had no idea what I could possibly write a book about. I lacked the focus to write the kind of dense nonfiction that takes a decade to research. A cohort of scoundrels, scholars, and princes. How Truman's forestry department changed everything and everyone, forever, and what it tells us about sexuality and the American dream. I lack the creativity to write fiction. Every time I do, I end up just telling one of my own anecdotes, with my name changed to Betsy. The world does not need my memoir. Plus, at the time, I did not have a computer nor the money to buy one. Challenges. One afternoon, in an attempt to get the community to basically write my column for me, I posed a question on Facebook. What concrete, tangible skills should you have by the age of 30? There were a lot of very thoughtful replies, though sadly, not enough to make a column out of. Then, a little while later, a friend complimented me on giving good advice and said maybe I should write an advice book. I felt, based on the way my fridge smelled at that very moment, that I was in no place to tell anyone anything about how to live. When I was 22, my friend Rachel, who at the time was 27 and capable and wise and generous and lived in a tasteful apartment with actual furniture, gave me a wonderful gift. We were driving back to the newsroom of the small Mississippi town where we were both reporters, and, well, now I can't remember what problem I was crying about. There were a lot of possibilities. Maybe I was lamenting that I had no real furniture, as mine was made of particle board and had literally dissolved when I moved during a rainstorm. Maybe I was sobbing because I was only a few months into my first grown up job, and while I was doing what I had always dreamed of doing, I was also consistently screwing every single last thing up, and felt like I had tricked my editor into hiring me, and any moment I would be caught and exposed for the fraud I was. Maybe I was agonizing over my long-term relationship with a truly wonderful guy I knew who was not right for me, and vice versa. Maybe she had just treated me to a Sonic Cherry Limeade because my take-home pay was $610 every 2 weeks, and I had student loans, and my post-Hurricane Katrina rent was a bargain at $450, which meant I was always overdrawing my bank account and relied on what I called the Walmart check bouncing grift. In short, I was 22 and my life was nothing but chaos and shambles, and it showed no signs of ever being otherwise. You know, no one tells you this, but the first year out of college or on your own is really, really hard, Rachel said. Before then, your life progresses in an orderly way. You finish one grade and then you go to another. You are constantly getting feedback and you know what's expected of you. And then it's just all open-ended and confusing. Sorry. Having someone say this to me, yes, this is really hard. You're not an idiot because there are things you don't know and you can't do right now. It's okay, and it will get better. For the first time was whatever the opposite feeling is of exchanging pleasantries with the Walmart clerk as she copies down your driver's license number on a check you know is no good. 5 years later, I thought perhaps, I could write a book that not only would have been useful to my very confused and sad past self, but also could give someone the comfort that Rachel gave me that day. Around that time, I was sitting with a friend in her 50s at a bar. Lovely Jessica Maxwell lived the life that I wanted. She'd been a long-time travel writer for all sorts of schmancy magazines and had published many books, and also her house is so pretty that I'm sort of afraid of it. She was talking about the importance of a good title, and I blurted out the word adulting. And she clapped her hands and said that was perfect. And then bartender Rob came over and wondered if that sounded too much like adultery. But adulting, it was. I tackled it like a reporting project. Find someone who can speak authoritatively about, say, how bleach works or how to have a cute living room, interview them for a long, long time, print out said interview, then highlight and cross-reference and fact-check and weave the information into a readable narrative and blah, blah, blah. Eventually, hey, you have a book. My mom and dad, for my 27th birthday, sent me to the Willamette Writers Conference to pitch the book to agents and editors. For the record, writers' conferences are a great way to get that precious, precious face to face time with someone who can actually make a book happen, but you have to pay for it. This conference was, I think, pretty normal, price wise, but it may as well have been $100,000 for all I could afford at the time. Then I got struck by a metaphorical lightning, and life became very strange and terrifying. Agents at the conference were very into it and approaching me to ask about it. And then on the second day, a TV producer wanted to ask if I'd considered making it into a sitcom. So within 3 weeks, I am not kidding, I had gone from having my debit card declined at Popeyes to trying to act like it was no big deal. Who cares? While Skyping with executives from Fox and Warner Brothers. Then the book came out and people liked it, and oh man, I am so happy they did. I really hope you do too. For those of you who are wondering what might happen if you too decided to write a how-to reference on being a grown-up, here's what you can expect. Every time you do anything, even something totally understandable like show up a few minutes late to a coffee date or fall asleep cradling a bag of horrible gold bears, and then wake up in the morning and wander around for a few minutes before you notice a pineapple bear is stuck to your tummy, your friend or sex friend will smirk and say something like, "Didn't you write a book on this?" And you will smile, a not real smile, and say, "Ha!" And then wander out of view so you can eat the bear. Pineapple is the best flavor, and there's only ever 4 of them. Every time someone else just exists as a human being, they will apologize constantly to you for transgressions such as not having a special guest towel or only making 4 delicious courses instead of 7. You'll say, "It's fine, seriously." And then you try to put them at ease by telling them the story about the gummy bear to make them feel better. This instead makes everything worse. Sometimes someone will introduce you and then note that you're very famous, even though you are not. And the person you're meeting looks excitedly to you to see what a famous person will say. That clacking noise in your head is the roller coaster cranking up to the top of the hill, except it is not a loop-de-loop ahead. It is their disappointment and your social anxiety that's about to wash over everyone. Your mom will be very proud, very, very proud. Word will get out that you're an expert on many things that you are not, like adulthood or millennials or car maintenance, and journalists will call you to ask you questions you cannot answer with any authority, and you can sense so clearly them thinking, "Didn't you write a book on this?" These interviews begin with the same question every last time. So what is a grown-up? When are you an adult? This ding-dang question. I've been thinking about it for 6 years now, and oh boy, I wish I had the answer. I wish there were an answer. I would trot it out at every interview. Well, Ellen, first, thank you so much for having me on and also telling me that I am a good, super funny person that you want to go with on a friend vacation to Dollywood. I cannot wait. Anyway, science peer-reviewed research has shown that you are officially an adult and 10,000 days, which happens a few months into your 27th year. On that day, you wake up and your life is just together. Ellen, it really is. Your career will be fulfilling, lucrative, and unlimited. Complimentary coconut water is available. Friends, families, significant others, to each one you will be loving, giving them always what they need and deserve while respecting your own boundaries. Your counters are never sticky. There are never little dried spider corpses in your bedside drawer. It's great. I do have my talking point for when they asked me the question. Being a grown up means treating others and yourself with decency and compassion, figuring out what needs to be done, and then doing it with minimal fuss or self pity. Here, though, is the other, uglier truth. Being an adult, heck, being a human is hard. No one feels like they're doing it correctly, or if they do, they feel very sure that others aren't doing it right. An opinion that they will often voice or vote for. There's nothing I can give you in this book that will allow you to protect and cushion yourself, not against a million tiny insults or few truly life altering traumas that we all go through. But I can say this: you get better at it the same way you are better at a job after a year and way, way better after 5. With every experience, every heartbreak, every month, and every year,